Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. It's been a little slow for me uploading some of these videos, but I do have some that are going to be coming out the next couple of days, going over some of these builds for some of the new characters and for some of the requested builds. So for a couple of weeks now, I have been asked if I can make a Helltooth set run 70, if I could show the optimization on it and that kind of thing to make it actually work. And that has proven more difficult than I thought it would be. But today I finally accomplished it, and I am going to show you exactly how that was done, but I'm also going to show you the items that I have here. So what I've done is I've got the Sacred Harvester. It is an ancient legendary, and it is, I've changed it to have 10% damage added to it, but what that does is it allows Soul Harvest to stack up to 10 times. That's one of the most necessary weapons on a Witch Doctor because it gives you so much survivability, and you'll see how in just a minute. The other legendary I'm running here, I'm running the Ucapian Serpent, and I've changed it to increase gargantuan damage by another 13%, and it also has critical hit added on it, and 30% of the damage I take is redirected to my zombie dogs. So this becomes kind of important once again to ramp up my survivability, but it does pose a little bit of a problem with actually being able to keep up our zombie dogs. And you'll see some of that going on as well. The Witching Hour I have simply because it gives me a lot of extra attack speed, a lot of extra life, and a decent amount of crit damage. So that's about the only reason I have it running. It's probably still not the best in slot there, but it works pretty well. Over here, I've got an Ancient Legendary Ring, which is the Short Man's Finger. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to take our one Gargantuan and split him into 3. So we end up with 3 of these guys running around. And because I am running the one that does the cleave, which is the Humongoid, that means that we have 3 super strong Gargantuans running around cleaving guys. Because not only does it give us 3, they're each more powerful than one was. So it's pretty nice to have that. What this does is it also increases our critical hit damage. And then I have Bane of the Powerful in there. Now, along with that dagger that we were using, the Sacred Harvester, we are running Lacumba's Ornament, which is the bracer that allows you to stack damage resistance, or reduce damage, I should say, for every stack of Soul Harvest you have. So, with this dagger allowing you to go up to 10, and this giving you 6 per stack, you're looking at 60% damage reduction on a Witch Doctor, which is pretty huge. And then for the hat, I'm actually wearing the Mask of Jerem, which is going to ramp up my pet's damage by another 84%, and I have the critical hit chance on this increased. So right here, I have Gargantuan damage increased. Over here, I've just done this to get sockets in it. Right here, I've done critical hit increased, and then over here, it's just doing Wall of Death damage, which is actually pretty nice, and reducing the cooldown. So it hasn't even been fully optimized there either. In the cube, what we're looking at is the wrong tab. In the cube, what we're looking at is the furnace. This was the item that I needed the most to make this set work. Without this, I could not get this to go through 70. Now, obviously, some of you are probably looking at my gems here and going, well, you have the wrong ones. And you would be correct. This one right here, Bane of the Stricken, needs to be swapped out for this guy right here, the Enforcer. Increase the damage on my pets by 30% and keep them from taking damage, basically. So that is something that I messed up, and I still was able to run through the 70. So I think if you ran this the correct way, you'd be able to blow right through it, no problem. But I also have Tasker and Theo, which is going to ramp up the attack speed of my pets. And then I have this Ring of Grandeur because I am running the Mask of Jerem up here. I need to still get the full set. For those of you that aren't familiar, the Helltooth Tunic does give you a bunch of stacking effects. So enemies hit by your primary skills, Acid Cloud, Fire Bat, Zombie Charger, Zombie Dogs, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead, Piranhas, or Wall of Death are affected by necrosis, becoming slowed, taking 1500% weapon damage every second, and taking 20% increased damage every from your attacks for 10 seconds. I'm sorry. For the forward part, we're looking at after applying that necrosis, we take 60% less damage for the next 10 seconds. And because this is a dot that's applied with our zombie wall, we're going to be able to put down a huge wall of death and do some serious damage with that. With our wall of death. It's going to do a lot of damage for us. And then the very last part, and why we're casting Wall of Death, after casting Wall of Death, we gain 1400% increased damage for 15 seconds to our primary skills and to Acid Cloud, Fire Bat, Zombie Charger, Zombie Dogs, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead Piranhas, and Wall of Death. What this does for us is it allows us to go in and drop a Wall of Death onto a big area. Now all of those enemies are going to have the necrosis dot applied onto them, which is going to slow them. They're going to take 1500% extra weapon damage, and they're going to take 20% increased damage from our attacks, which is going to be a huge boost when you're talking about we're already going to be adding 1400% to our only attack that we will actually be doing as a character, and that is Tornado. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull everything into a big group so that our zombie dogs and our cleaving gargantuans can get their hands on them. It's also going to make it a lot easier for us to get our stacks because we're going to put the Wall of Death, put the tornado down, run up beside the tornado, hit that soul harvest, go ahead and give ourselves 10 stacks, which is going to increase our armor by 100%. It's going to reduce enemy movement speed by 80%. It's also going to give us 30% intelligence for 30 seconds. And then it's going to reduce our damage taken by 60%. So you have to run Soul Harvest on everybody, specifically with the Languish rune, which is going to give you that armor boost to keep you alive. Wall of Death, I am doing the Communing with Spirits rune, because what that's going to do is it's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to slow enemies down. It's going to reduce their damage, and it does a ton of damage for us. So it lets guys pass right through it. Some Walls of Death actually encircle enemies, but we want them to be able to pass through it so that they get clumped up by our tornado. My zombie dogs, I am running Leeching Beast because it's giving me an extra dog, and they're healing me every hit they make, so I'm staying up a little more often. And then, like we discussed, Humongoid for the gargantuans. I do have Spirit Walk active because every time you're running this, you need to be able to get away sometimes, or sometimes you want to run into the middle of a pack, summon your dogs and gargantuans right into the middle of the pack, pop that Soul Harvest, pop that Wall of Death, throw a tornado down, and get back out. So it becomes a very useful utility item there. Now we are running Pierce the Veil. All of our damage is increased by 20%, but our mana costs are also increased. That's fine with us because we're only really casting one spell when it comes off cooldown. Spirit Vessel, every class has one, every class needs one. Get out of jail free card. Grave Injustice, gain 1% of your maximum life and mana and reduce the cooldown of all of your skills by 1 second when an enemy dies within 20 yards. This is going to allow us, when we're standing beside that pile with our gargantuans cleaving away, as guys start dying, all of our stuff comes back off cooldown. So nice for keeping that damage up, keeping that Wall of Death active, keeping those tornadoes there, keeping your Soul Harvest up. Midnight Feast is going to increase the damage of our zombie dogs and our gargantuan by another 50% and add yet another zombie dog. So we're actually going to end up, when all of this is said and done, with 4 zombie dogs, 3 gargantuans, and a Templar who likes to lay on the ground a lot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut to me actually running the Rift. It took me a couple of tries to figure it out. So I have already recorded it, and I know it's going to be a success. So you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, guys, as you saw, that worked out pretty well. It got kind of down to the wire there, but like I said, I didn't actually have the gem in it, and I did actually unlock this Helltooth mantle, which is better than the one I was running. So, it does get better. The items can be ramped up a little bit further, and you can do even more damage and get through those a little bit quicker. But it is another viable set, so that makes two sets for the Witch Doctor that you could easily take through a level 70 rift if you can have the right items. Now, I will say the Ericers is a little easier in my opinion, and it also is a little more forgiving on your items. I think I had to do a lot more optimization and be a lot more on point with this build in order to get through there on a Greater Rift 70. But when you unlock that Greater Rift 70, you do actually unlock access to those ancient primals and all of that. So it's something that you want to get done. It's a pretty easy task to accomplish with the Witch Doctor. They are extremely powerful this season. And like I said, this is the second one. I may try to get Zunamasas to get through it as well. But right now, my priority is going to be I have the Invoker build that I need to showcase for the Crusader. I also have a Roland's Legacy build that I want to showcase for him. It's a little trickier, and I don't think it goes quite as high, so we're going to try and do some optimization on that as well. Crusader is a little bit weaker of a class, except for the Hammered-In builds, so I'm working on getting that one put together as well, and I'll show that off. You've seen the Demon Hunter do its Shadow Hunter thing. So it's pretty powerful. I am finishing a monk up as well, so we're going to get into some of those builds. So we've got several more build videos that are going to be coming out throughout this season. We'll probably try to get at least one build representative of every class this season. So if there's anything you guys really want to see, if you like the format of these videos, if you'd maybe like to see something a little different, just let me know down there in the comment section. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, and you can come see us as we do live streams Tuesday through Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We are a very open community, and we play a lot of games together. So that's how we get a lot of this gear is after we get a level 70 run, we'll go and run several of them as a team, and we'll run different puzzles, and we'll do all kind of stuff. So we get a lot of items in, you get a lot of experience. That's where a lot of my paragons come from lately. I think when I started doing the multiplayer stuff, it's probably around a 600. And so we've gone up over 60 Paragon levels at a very high level, just playing with each other and having a good time. And it usually is a very good time. So like I said, I appreciate you guys so much for coming by. Your support has been phenomenal. I never thought I'd be right here looking at 50 subs, and I never thought I'd be well over 5,000 views at this point either. So I really appreciate it, and if you guys like what you see, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, have a great day.